All right, guys, welcome back to Shump Street, man. We doing a breakdown, man. It's just after game six for the Pistons and the Cavs. We also had the closeout game six against the Timberwolves, the Spurs. Whew, they stomped them down. So we're going to break it down. To join us today, one of my favorite voices that I got to have in my ear throughout some of the time of my NBA career. Phil Handy worked with the Cleveland Cavaliers with us for multiple years, doing all the player development stuff for us. If you ever saw us before the game, doing our ball handling, I'm sure if you guys have paid attention or kept up with Kyrie Irving, you've seen him alongside Kyrie a lot of the time, doing some of those same things that he used to do with us in Cleveland because it was so effective. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Handy, we want to thank him for coming on to the show tonight. Don't worry, in post, I'm gonna have them give you the big applause. You know what I'm saying? The big
Dog,
applause and the cheers.
I still say you got the best hands in the game, dog.
Man, I got some of the best. If I ain't break them two fingers, man, damn, they probably would have let me keep shooting that thing.
Got the best hands in the game, man.
Pistons Cavs game six. The Pistons won 115 to 94. The Pistons even the series now 3-3. Game seven coming up Sunday. Cade Cunningham finished with 21 and 8. Paul Reed finished with 17 points, 16 minutes off the bench. Jalen Durham finally woke up and came back alive with 15 and 11. James Harden, honorable mentions, 23.7 rebounds. He had 4 assists and 8 turnovers. We always talk about what happens when he has more turnovers than assists or more turnovers than he does field goals made. Donovan Mitchell, 18.6 of 20 shooting. Didn't get a lot out of him, especially not defensively. The Pistons got this younger core with the Cavs. Does it feel like the series progression that the youth is playing a part in that?
Man, I think you sometimes, when you get into the playoffs, man, people talk about young players not really understanding the pressure of the playoffs, and they just go out there and hoop. And I think that's what you're seeing right now. The kid Reed, man, has been an X factor. Like he talk about staying ready. The number gets called. This is what he's doing. He's been showing up, and so game six, the Pistons had their back against the wall, man. You've been in that situation. You know what it's like to do or die, and so for them, it was just like we got to come out and scrap. And I think what you saw earlier on in that game, a lot of defensive intensity and a lot of deflections from
Yeah.
Detroit, kind of set the tone.
My my biggest thing when I look at the Pistons, right? They do a lot of similar things that I look at when I see the Timberwolves, which is crazy that they both play tonight because the Pistons will beat you and it won't be clicking on all cylinders. Yet we look at the Pistons and we still feel like they are missing something. When you look at the DNA of them, if you had to rebuild for next year, we just gonna put our GM hats on. What do you go get for that Pistons team? Because it's not like even when I watched at the end of the game, Karis LeVert not being able to handle the ball or not being able to make plays. I
Well, I
don't
think
see.
what they're missing, Shump, is they're missing a shooter. They're missing a bona fide, another guy that can really stand on the wing and knock down shots.
But he
Um,
can't hide defensively because that's the problem. I
yeah,
think
but you,
Duncan Robinson,
so
you have to hide him.
you think about Detroit last year, right? Or a couple years ago. I think about a kid like Malik Beasley, right? They don't have a
Exactly.
Malik Beasley, and he was one of those kids that was doing it on both ends for him. So can you have somebody that can relieve the pressure and not be afraid of taking big shots? I think they're going to need another perimeter player that can really stretch the defense and open up the lane for Cade, right? Tobias and some of these other guys to where it's not so much jam-packed in the paint, but there's another bona fide shooter on the wing.
Yeah. As you look at Jalen Duren getting his confidence back, do you think they're better with him playing more of a limited role and leaning on Paul Reed?
Man, listen, playoff Shump, you need everybody. Nobody, nobody can be in a limited role. You know that, Shump. Like you,
For sure.
speaking from experience, right? In the playoffs, you need everybody clicking, right? Everybody needs to show up and do their job. And whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever that is, right? The Pistons are going to need everybody for Game 7. And Duran, right, I mean, he's been a big piece of this team's success this year.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't understand, like, the intensity level raises in the playoffs. It just does. There's a different level, right? There's regular season and then the playoffs. And when it comes to the playoffs, man, possessions matter. Every possession matter on both sides. So if they're going to win this next game, they're going to need Duran, they're going to need Reed, and they're going to need everybody else that's in uniform if they step on the floor to be impactful with their minutes.
I'd like to speak to that a little bit. Because you've been a guy that's gotten to sit in those coaches' meetings, but you're also with the players a ton.
Right.
When you're relaying a message to the coaching staff or saying, like, we need this or we need that for adjustments, you should play this guy, he's ready. What are you looking for in a player that may not be in rotation? He may not be a guy that's getting in right now, but you start to see his numbers about to be called. What's the preparation and what is the conversation that happens? How could players that aren't playing know how to be ready for these things?
Well, just, when you get to this level of the game, what's your job, right?
Real talk.
Your job is to be a basketball player. So what does that entail? Your job is not to understand when you're going to play. Sometimes you don't know when you're going to play. So your job as a player, especially at this time of year, is to be prepared, right? You want to be prepared so when your number does get called, you are ready. And Shumpert, I'm always going to talk back to your experience as a player.
Yeah.
If you're not ready and you get your number called, it may not get called again.
For sure.
That window in the playoffs is very small. So the communication is always, listen, what do we need, right? Sometimes it might be an energy spark. That it might just be a guy that can come in and get you a couple deflections or get a stop or get a timely rebound in the playoffs. Those type of possessions can make a huge difference. So it may not be somebody that's always going to score, but how can they impact the game for us in an area that we might need? So the message for the player and the athlete is always stay ready. People think that's a cliche, but at this level, that is really the key, staying ready, because at any given moment, there's always one game that one player comes in that has not been playing. It might be a 3-minute stretch, and they just impact the whole series, right?
Yeah.
You need those type of guys to always be ready when their number gets called.
Yeah. The way the Pistons jumped out tonight, did you think that you saw anything different in the approach, or do you think they just played better? I think the only thing I thought Cade did a good. He had a flurry of turnovers today, but it was only one of the flurries, and then I think he was probably lazy with the ball another time. But I didn't think he had as many mental lapses today.
Man, I just saw their intensity, Shump. Their intensity was on the defensive end to start the game. They were physical, they were grabbing, they were holding, and they came out with the mindset of, like, the only way we're going to get this game, we got to go into Cleveland and make it dirty. You know that. You got to jump it up. When you get it
straight up,
you're down 3-2 and you got to win a game on the road, you got to come with a physical disposition. And that mindset of, like, from tip off, wherever you are, we're gonna be in your jersey. We're gonna be pushing. I think
that was Asur Thompson the whole game.
Absolutely,
the whole game. He's not gonna get as much praise because he doesn't, score the ball all the time. But what he finished with 10-9. He finished with like 10-9, 4-4 or 4-2.
I mean,
it was something crazy like that.
Those numbers are
Asur Thompson, 10-9, 4-4, and a block. 4-6 from the field. Only shot 1-3.
It don't always show up in the stat sheet, right?
Yeah.
Just that energy. And again, knowing that we have to bring that disposition on the defensive end. People overlook that part of the game in the playoffs. Defensively, the teams
that can't drop off.
You can't, right? Because you're not going to always make shots. Some nights you're just not going to make shots. But what you can have is defensive mindset and defensive intensity. Hey, if I'm not going to score, you're not going to score. That type of mentality of like, I might not be making shots, but we're going to make it tough for you to score as well. And
And it's like when you get the defensive stops though, that's when you get the easy ones. That's when we can get out and break away. You get the feel good three, the feel good behind the back pass to a dunk. It's like I always loved that. People always thought like, especially in the playoffs, like Iman loves defense, and it's like no, I love this part because this is the part we can't even coach it.
right,
It's like if you either you got that in your chest, if that shit
right,
ain't in your chest, it ain't happening in the playoffs.
right,
Like I remember not playing against the Pacers and then coming in, what was that, game two? Coming in game two and they called my number and I just was like, you know what? I might not, like you was telling me, because I remember you being in my ear, like even if you play 3 minutes, Shump, it got to be the best 3 minutes of the game. I come out there, I play the 3 minutes. I
how
play
hard
that three, huh?
how hard was that for you?
It was hard for me to hear the message. It was hard for me to hear the message. Like when I heard the message that night, that was incredibly tough for when you said that, but you kind of already knew in advance.
Yep.
If they come out here doing this again and he call you, just let it all out. All the shit you feeling, let it out.
Right.
Let it out on him though. Let it out on Paul George. But let it out. And I just remember, like you said, deflections, steals, any 50-50 ball, mine. Any rebound, mine. Bad pass, I'm deflecting it. You bring me over there for a trap, even if it ain't supposed to be a trap. Fuck it. We gonna run a trap. And it was like that intensity, even in a moment where maybe Bron or Kyrie just needed a rest for a second.
Right. Right.
Maybe K Love just needed an extra look. Bron just needed, JR just needed an extra look. So I'm going to get a long rebound, something.
Right.
But it's like playing that hard and saying, I can get us another possession. I felt like that's what I watched out of Paul Reed tonight. What I watched out of Jenkins, which we've seen so much. Jalen Duren came back around to do that stuff. I thought they won all the 50-50 balls. It was tough to watch. I thought James Harden, even though he turned the ball over, I know his turnover to assist ratio, because he's not the natural point guard, it fluctuates. And I know that numbers usually will tell the story for James Harden, but I felt like James did play hard. Like this wasn't a game that he let go, and he was willing to let the whole clip ride. He was going to let the clip ride, throw the gun, throw the clip, throw the knife.
What I
He
love
tried.
about Harden, just the transformation, right, of him coming from the Clippers, and just we've seen James play a certain style of basketball his whole career, right? I really have liked the fact that he's off the ball, he's playing a different role, he's got two viable bigs that he can really throw the ball to in the pocket or in the lobs. You see him and Donovan like really still trying to figure each other out, right? On the fly, right? They're trying to figure out how to complement each other. And I just like that James, I saw one of his interviews where he said, listen, whatever it takes for us to win, right? That's the mentality you got to have. I think the other thing that people miss out on, Shump, is like, the natural thing for a team like Cleveland, you go to Detroit, you win a tough game on the road, and now you're going back to the crib. And the most natural thing is to what? Just take a little deep breath, you relax just that little bit, and you come in and you have a game like you did tonight where Detroit, you knew they were going to have their backs against the wall. And it's just the most natural thing is, man, we're up 3-2, we're going back to the crib. All right,
we going back to the crib. We finna close it out. Let's set our table for dinner. Yeah, they did all that. I know what you said. They start hearing the streets, what's going outside, what's going on. They say if we win, we at this spot. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But you start hearing those chirps. Yeah, it's tough. But as I watched it, one of my biggest takeaways was, which I've been saying it all series, that they need to get Donovan Mitchell going immediately. I need his energy to be on 100% when we start feeding him. I don't like it when they have cold spells and that's when he starts trying to chuck. You know what I'm saying? I felt like tonight he already didn't have a rhythm. And then they got in that spell where Detroit started really, because at first the Cavs were controlling it. Detroit runs up. They did that first little run. I felt like Donovan just tried a couple real quick, and it made Detroit confident that they figured him out. You know what I'm saying? By the way, Asar Thompson, whoever sees him, just do like they used to do to me. Just run to the corner. Run to the corner. Don't even let that man get involved. Stop, y'all. Can't do it. I don't know what that man got going on. I don't know what his sleep regimen is. I don't know what him and his brother used to do in the backyard while they play so goddamn hard like that. I don't know. But stop trying him. I'm sick of watching it.
Hey, listen, there's no better competition than having a sibling that you like.
And a twin at that.
A twin at that, right? That is, look, man, that kid just plays hard.
Hard as fuck.
There's really no recipe for that, right? That's what he
Can't
does.
Coach it.
I'm bringing my hard hat. I'm gonna bring my hard hat and make it tough for whoever's in front of me. I just love that he's fearless.
Yeah.
You know, you look at kids, like I said, man, you look at some of these kids, right? They don't have a ton of playoff experience. So they're all learning on the fly, but they're not afraid. They're not afraid of the moment. And I think that's what you saw tonight in Detroit. Just, again, it's not going to be pretty. You know that every game in a playoff series is a new game, and there's got to be some kind of adjustments. Every game in a playoff series is different. There are no two games that are the same. So I think Detroit just came with the mindset of, like, we need to get this thing back to Detroit so we can have a game 7.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Detroit. JB and his squad. They've been holding it down and proving that they the number 1 seed for a reason. One other thing, because, you know, we Cavs guys, for the life of me, right? No Jalen Tyson?
Hey, man, you know, just like we say, Shump, right, sometimes the flow.
No, but I love KA. I love KA. You know, I'm not into it with him. I just want to know what my boy do, because that boy could play.
Yeah, sometimes the flow of the game. One thing.
That's what I'm saying. The flow of the game says put Tyson in.
Well, what I'm saying is, I think what I've learned, Shump, there's as a coach, as a head coach, right? I haven't been a head coach in the league, but I've had some head coaching opportunities, and there's a million things that go through your mind, right, throughout the course of a game. And sometimes the course of the game, there might be a game plan that you have in mind, that you have prepared. Something might happen, and you might just go completely away from the game plan that you had. You know, who knows what Coach K.A. was thinking about or why this kid didn't play tonight. But you might see game 7, you might see another adjustment, right? It's all about adjustments, and from game to game, you might see different players that touch the floor.
Different players that just come in. It just, like with me, I'ma always look at it like, cause I'm an easy fixer. Well, not an easy. I'm a make sense fix guy. And for me, when I look at them, I say, okay, we need to keep defensive intensity up on Detroit. But when I look at Detroit, I say Jalen Tyson is an athletic guard, can defend multiple positions, and he can score the basketball. I mean, he don't have to be the main scorer, but he can score the basketball in no business situations. He can just get it, rip through, white, finish. Might go up for a dunk if he can. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't play scared. He keeps pressure on you. And I just feel like a lot of times with the Cavs, it seems like James is controlling the decision-making even before action happens. It's like he almost doesn't trust everybody to be in actions all the time, which is fine regular season way. But you know, in the playoffs, if you don't activate one side before changing sides of the floor, a defense shell can get tight. When I look at it, I'll be like, hey, for Jalen Tyson to have the body of work that he's had throughout the season and to have helped you guys as much as he's helped you throughout the season, I just don't. I would have thought that I'd have seen like a real reason that he just stopped playing. Like, was it the first series or?
You may see this kid in game 7 right?
Without a doubt. KA may be thinking the same shit.
It's all about adjustments, right? It's always, and a lot of times for coaches too. Sometimes hindsight, you think about, maybe, again, I should have done this, or I should have done that. I should have played this player. Should have
Right.
called this timeout. I should have ran this play. There's always, you go back and watch the film as a coach, and you see all these different things that you felt like you should have done, and in real time, right? The game is happening so fast. So really, again, it's about the adjustments. What kind of adjustments do the Cavs make for Game 7? It's
I
going to
love
be
that. I fucking love that word. When we get to the playoffs and people start talking about adjustments, like, I know fans don't get how tickled we be about that shit, but there's no better feeling for a fucking coach than to say in the middle of the night, like, I got it.
Hey man, the
This
film.
this is what we doing tomorrow. And they pull up, and we pull up for Game 5 like, oh yeah, we finna throw him to the sideline, trap every time. Bet it's sideline pop. Let's do it. Like what? Oh, James Harden ain't allowed to play today? Yeah. Oh, I know I'm finna play. You get what I'm saying? That's the type of shit that happen though, where it's like, when they be like, all right, cool. We in a full denial on Paul George. I'm like, let me tighten my shoes up. You know what I'm saying? I knew they was gonna need me, baby.
I think people might have missed. They might have missed the whole point of what you just said. You
Yeah.
knew part of what your role was.
Oh
And
yeah,
you,
for sure.
you knew exactly. Okay, hey, this game plan. Okay, I know I'm gonna be part of this, and understanding again what your role is. That is also part of playoff success, right? Everybody embodying. All right, what do I have to do to help us win? It's not so much about what you want to do all the time. It's more about, what do I have to do to help us win?
Without a
And
doubt.
that is a big part of it, man, fulfilling your role.
That's what I was
100%.
when I heard. You remember when Draymond just did the quote about Steve Kerr holding him back? I'm like, bruh, y'all don't understand. Like, people was like, how I felt about it. I kind of stayed quiet because I'm like, bruh, I've been there. I think he came out and said it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to do that when you're a Hall of Famer and you got to play with Steph and Clay. But it's like, I know what that competitive streak is to say, I can do more. I can do more. Like, I felt like I could do more the whole time. I hated people calling me a defensive. They like, oh, you just a defensive genius, a whiz. I'm like, bro, it's like 8 scorers over here. I just don't get the rock. I gotta either rob somebody for it or I ain't gonna touch
Got to
it. Like,
figure it out. How you
yeah,
gonna
I'm like,
do it?
I'm just a survivor, dog. I'm like, I'm not out here. I'm not a defensive guy. I would love to shoot this thing 30 times. Like, y'all better stop playing. But I understood it because I'm like, man, people don't understand what that's like to prepare. You working all season. Like, I was working on all type of ball handling drill. It took me a while till I could even do a workout that was made for my role. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to try this, and we had to start breaking it down into field, making sure I do 20, 30 minutes of ball handling to stay ready. But you are now playing as a combo guard. You do not need to be handling the ball all day and doing that. No. What you need to be able to do is have no dribbles. Somebody throw you the ball, and you can knock that down, and you comfortable. Like, you talking shit in that mode. And it's like, I wouldn't talk shit in that. You know that, though. I hit 2 threes and won't say a word. Like, it don't get me hype. I don't got my juices flowing. The whole bench screaming like, yeah! Because they trying to lock me into playoff mode. This is what we need you to do. We're going to scream when you do this.
Right.
Yeah, if you do a crazy move, we going to get hype. But it's like, if you do some random shit and just hit a pull-up, we not finna be jumping up and down and giving you the stamp of approval because we don't need you to be erratic right now. We don't need you to do that. We got to be able to trust it. We've seen Bron do this the whole game. We've seen Kyrie do this the whole game. And I had to hone into that and say, all right, we're going to do this. And I believe it was it might have been Atlanta when we start hitting them threes, but Boggs started kicking their legs out. We was going off with the threes, but I just remember feeling like, I get it. Like, I was an asshole.
I wouldn't even phrase it as an asshole. I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. You were always coachable. You weren't one of those guys that couldn't be coached.
Yeah.
You had this competitive edge to you, to
Yeah.
where you felt like, Nah, Joe. You remember you used to say that song? Nah, Joe.
Can't go, Joe. I can't go.
You know what? I never looked at you as an asshole, man. You were just a competitive player that felt like, man, I'm just as good as these guys are, right?
Yeah.
But again, the hardest thing is to put your vision of yourself, right, to the side. That's what it is, right? There's always three. I always talk about players, right? There's always three parts of it. There's the player's vision, there's the coach's vision, and then there's the front office vision.
Come
right?
on now.
And can those things across the board, how do you come to a place of compromise? What does the coach want? What does the player want? What does the front office want? You can't alleviate any one of those. You
Right.
have to be able to come to a center point to say, hey, look, this is where we see you, and this is where I see myself, coach. And then, where do we meet in the middle? Because there's one battle that you're not going to win most of the time as a player.
Front
When the
office.
coach makes his choice, you're not going to win that battle. So you better figure out, okay, what is it going to take for me to be on the floor, right, to where you can earn his trust, and then when you earn the trust, what happened? More freedom comes.
I'll tell you who got to earn some goddamn trust. Julius Randle. 3 points and 7 rebounds for Julius Randle. Rudy Gobert, 0 points and 3 rebounds. Rudy, I've been big for you the whole playoffs. I've been putting my hands together. You can't be doing shit like that. Not no closeout game. Spurs win 139-109. San Antonio also closes this series and chapter on the Minnesota Timberwolves as they head out to play the Thunder. Stephon Castle finished with 32 points and 11 rebounds. God damn, that boy is killing. De'Aaron Fox, 21 points and 9 assists. Anthony Edwards added 24 points on 9 of 26 shooting. Yeah, I guess what was your thoughts in what should have been a more intense closeout game, but we couldn't even get that. I felt like this was an ass kicking from the backcourt from the very jump.
Man, you know more than anybody else. There's always a couple things in the playoffs that you need. One, health. Forget about the talent, right? Your team's got to be talented to get there. You got to have health, and you need a little bit of luck, right?
Yeah.
The Timberwolves ran into, young fella DiVincenzo gets hurt, Anthony Edwards gets hurt, Asumo gets hurt. Like, they came back, but them losing their starting two guard, that's a big piece. Because that kid he gonna make shots and he gonna compete, right? That's a huge piece to start there. I think what you saw tonight, man, you saw the making of a young team that really believes in themselves. Like that core of San Antonio, led by that young alien, Mr. Wemby.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you saw a team that was hungry. Like they had, again, closeout games are the hardest games, right? Them dudes went in there with like, man, we're going to leave it all on the floor tonight. And so you look at Castle, that young boy is tough. He physical.
Fox.
Big size. Fox is a proven point guard. You got
And
Harper.
then Dylan Harper, honestly, to me, this is what's scary about them. As good as Stephon Castle is, Dylan Harper has so many tools that make me feel like if he gets somewhere else, will come out. But what's interesting about it is I don't want them broken up.
No.
You know how we see this all the time and we be like, I want to see this guy. Like how bad we wanted to see James Harden leave OKC. And then when he left, we like, damn. If they'd have stayed together, how many would they have won?
Facts. Well,
how many of they have won? And it's like, I look at them and I say that, and it's got to be exciting. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a Spurs guy. I'm a Chicago guy. But I'm a fan of basketball, and if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm so fucking happy. Like, that's what I'm saying, not just for Wemby, but for them three to be together, because for years to come, especially as Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle get even better defensively. Because offensively, because defensively, they'll grow because Wemby's going to get better year after year. And when you got somebody like that behind you to erase your mistake, how aggressive do you get on defense? You already aggressive as shit. The man did a double wrap behind the back to a left hand poke the other night. I was like, shorty, if somebody hit me with that during a game at that age,
well, forget
you
about
feel me? Like, I'd expect that out of somebody. You hear me? Like, Anthony Edwards could pull that. Give me your all-star to do that to me. For him to come out here and double wrap somebody, dog,
at that size,
it don't matter. It's the playoffs. It's the moment, Phil.
But Shump,
it's the moment, Phil.
What have you seen? I hear what you're saying, but somebody at that size doing what he's doing, my man is out there playing Nerf ball. Like it's like you grow up in the bedroom, you can dunk.
Oh no! I was talking about Dylan's move.
Oh, you talking
Dylan
about
Harper?
Dylan. I thought you was talking about
Dylan. I know that, and that's what's raw about them. But that's what's raw about them. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. Like Dylan Harper did that, but Wemby did it too. So it's like what? But with them, as I see Dylan Harper, I'm like, bro, he's gonna be really fucking good. And I don't think I want him to wear another uniform.
Well, you know the Spurs culture, right? Historically, they do a great job of keeping their guys together.
Their cores, yeah.
Their core of guys is they buy into just the thought of like, man, we want to win. Like,
yeah,
so
we'll take 5-10 million less.
Yeah, that might mean we might make a little less money, but we all gonna win. We gonna thrive. We all gonna eat. And we're going, it's going to get back to Spurs basketball, what it used to be with Parker, Ginobili, and that whole Duncan era. Like, them dudes stayed together forever. Word. You know, today's game is a little different. But I do think that San Antonio they've always kind of had a culture of trying to keep their guys together. And they got a really good young core, man. Vessel, that kid is super talented.
Bro.
You know, people don't really talk about him and what he does. You know, the sixth man of the year. Young fella went from starting to going to, taking a role off the bench. Just the pieces that they have, man. I think they have everything.
And I know you didn't score the ball or nothing tonight, but y'all didn't need scoring, so I just respect the professionalism, to tell you the truth.
Man. Every night's different, right? We just talked about it. Every game is different. One game you might need to score 20. The next game you might need to get 6 or 7 rebounds and get
Straight
a couple
up.
stops. It just
straight up.
Whatever the game dictates, man, is what you got to be willing to do.
Speaking of end of the thing and talking into the future, does Anthony Edwards need another star for the Timberwolves to make a true title run?
He definitely needs some help.
What kind of help?
It's one of those things like having another wing. Again, I really feel like DiVincenzo would have made a huge difference in this series.
Yeah, for sure.
So you take that and say Minnesota wasn't complete. I really feel like if they were complete, I think they could have won this series. In my opinion, just that piece. People say, really? Yeah, he's a big piece because that means that they can't really double Ant as much with him on the floor, right? Yeah. Or if you taking the risk of him, look, and they probably say, well, we'd rather him shoot than Anthony Edwards shoot, but he's high.
But Dante could get hot.
He's prolific at his job, so that's a weapon that was taken away from them. And the other piece that people forget, like, that dude is an ultra competitor on the other side of the ball, man.
Yeah, he play hard as hell.
He competes. So for Ant, and then you talk about matchups. I just think Wemby is a tough matchup for Rudy. That's a really tough matchup. And Wemby's a tough matchup for anybody right
Without
now.
a doubt. That's the job.
But you want to talk about matchup, like having Rudy has to play in space. He got a guard on the perimeter. He can't just stay in the hole because Wemby can shoot it. He could put it on the floor. So it's a really tough matchup for him. But I do think that Ant is going to need another piece. Now, Michael Conley's had a hell of a career. Minnesota's now is going to have to go find themselves a legit point guard. Can you have somebody that can handle the ball and relieve the pressure from Ant? Like they don't really have a. Conley comes off the bench, and if he's not playing, they don't really have a point guard. You know, they do it by committee, but can you get a legit point that can really settle your team down? Get Ant in his spots, get guys in his spots to where.
I think this playoffs is pushing positionless shit out the window.
I mean,
it's showing right now that it's like we need traditional point guards.
It's tough. You got to have a floor general. Like you have to have a floor general. If your primary scorer is always has the ball in their hands, and then teams start to trap. All they did was what? They trapped Ant. They made him get off the ball. Like they made it tough for him. He saw bodies damn near every time, even when he wasn't a threat. You remember some of our game plans, Shump. Like best player, we're not letting you play.
It ain't not, yep. That's what I love telling them. You can't play.
We're not letting you play.
Figure it out somewhere else. There's no defensive response. I don't got to play help side, nothing. That'd be my favorite shit. When y'all tell me something like that, like he ain't allowed to play today. Bet.
Oh, man.
Bet. That means I can go for steals. I'm doing it all. Get rid of the ball, my boy. Get rid of it. You ain't shooting nothing but a free throw today. And that's for a scorer though. That's frustrating as hell. To feel like I'm not getting the ball unless I can get to the free throw line, and then it's like all type of pressure to make 2 shots that wasn't there because you just feel like I can't get a rhythm. I haven't done anything exciting. I haven't gotten a relaxed shot or a good look at the rim. Everything's under duress, faded away. They missed 2 or 3 of those. The rim tightened up. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I know what Ant-Man's going through. I don't know if it's a offensive thing or not. Like I wanted him for this year to add the back to the basket. It just doesn't seem like he's done it yet.
I saw it part of the season, right? But again, that's
not what it's for.
Well, what I mean, you're absolutely right, but evolving, right?
It's for the playoffs.
You see players evolving 100%, but see sometimes it might take a playoff series like this type of play for him to continue to go and hunt and say, man, what do I have to come back as? And I saw him post up a lot more in the regular season. And again, comfort level, right? Understanding what transfers and then how can you manage games in the playoffs. So you think about going back to us when Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt, where did Bron play?
Point forward.
He played in the post, right? Everything slowed down for us. And he
back
played
to the basket.
Knowing he was going to get doubled. So like even for Ant, right? When you get doubled and you're closer to the basket, sometimes your outlets become easier, right?
And the cuts become available for other players. And that's what I don't get about them. They leave him in a point of attack that makes people kind of come to the ball unaggressive. And I just don't understand, especially, and I don't want to like seem like I'm criticizing him, but it's like I know he watches basketball. And it's like, I know you've seen the greats before you. Like, everybody went and got a post game once they started this double team because creates, you have to guard me a certain way. I now know what you're doing, whoever's guarding me. The double's coming, and now the double has to think about not fouling because of the control you have once you engage somebody with the post. But then the walking down, like, because what I had to learn was not to bang and to learn to let that happen, but turn to where you can damn near walk back to the baseline and they got to attach. And now you got your wipe to get to the middle, or you can straight up attack the double teamer. Only reason I know it so well is because I'm always been on the defensive side where I'm trying to close a gap and I don't want to let somebody get out. Right. And I'm like, the guys that are tough to control is the one that locks in whoever that guy is. Like Bron did it every time. He's going to lock in whoever's guarding him, can't even close the double team. So it's left on me. And now I got to take an angle to close that to where he can't split. I got to take such a deep angle, pause, that he's got an easy decision. Two dribble escape. Now it's going around the horn so fast, there's nothing I could do to get to the other side. You know what I'm saying? I'm kicking out a big, and now I got a big pushing me under the rim, and that's going to lead to an offensive rebound. It's just Ant-Man seeing the trickle effect. I just want him to. Man, we might need to start another university. Goddamn it! Listen, because I can't. I really want him to have that knowledge though. But it's like I don't know who's in his ear. I don't know how tough it is. I don't want to make it seem like he's not working on it.
I think you got some good people around him, man. Like, Finch is a good coach. Chris Hines, who I know is a little, like a little brother to me, man. He doesn't.
I'm gonna call James White too. James White works with them. I'm gonna call James White and tell him like, "Hey, bro, if y'all need me, call me, brother."
He got great people around him, and I just think that players continue to evolve, right?
Yeah.
Again, you think about some of the greatest players, man. Bron, how many years did Bron take his battles? How many years did MJ take his battles? How many years did even Kobe, like early on, take his lumps? Maybe a little different, right? So you look at Ant and just how he continues to evolve. I think you'll see him come back with another level to his game next season. It's one of those things where I think there's always lessons, right? People think of wins and losses, but a lot of times it's wisdom and lessons, man. What can you learn in these things to help you continue to progress as a player if you want to go deep in the playoffs?
Amen. So Spurs OKC preview.
Ooh.
What you thinking?
Ooh.
Who you taking?
Hey, listen, if their regular season matchups is going to give you any kind of indication of how Wemby takes those games personal, he got something personal against OKC.
Chet.
Man.
I think it's Chet. I think it's Chet.
Well,
him and Chet have some battles that was going on overseas. They used to say Chet was like better.
Hey, this is made for TV right here, bro. You got two young teams that are loaded, super competitive. That's gonna be a great series, man.
I'm gonna get you this. I'm gonna get you to pick one. Predict it. Who you taking in the series?
Oh man, San Antonio, I believe, will cause just matchups. It's a matchup problem for them. I believe so.
You gonna take San Antonio?
I'm gonna take San Antonio. I think,
man, Wemby gonna get his. I don't know if anybody can match up against them, but OKC.
Man, I mean, listen, it's gonna be a tough series. It's gonna be two. Like you always talk about, right? Two stars competing in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You got former champ, MVP. Like, where are they going to put their energy, San Antonio, defensively, right? Where do you put your energy in terms of like your focus on Shea? And then again, where does OKC put their energy? Because you got two stars, man, that are matchup problems for both teams. Like they are matchup problems. So again, sometimes the regular season doesn't tell the whole story, right? It just doesn't. You know that, Sean.
I'll scrap the regular season in a heartbeat
and come in the playoffs. But what I saw in the regular season, those teams were competing at a really high level
against a playoff level already.
Yeah, competing at a playoff level. So you had a preview of just what is going to come. I think it's going to be a 7-game series.
Awesome.
It's going to be a 7-game series.
So you got San Antonio 7.
I have to go.
I got OKC in 6.
Hey man.
I got OKC in 6, but we gonna see. We gonna see.
We'll come back and have this conversation.
Real talk, cause I got to be Perk already owe me dinner. We about to come. Yeah, he owe me dinner. And then we gotta come back to this because he said the Spurs gonna win the whole thing. Now, if the Spurs beat OKC, I definitely see it. They're a tough matchup, and I think they're gonna play the Knicks. Because J.B. Bickerstaff and them wanted the Knicks. If they really want them, come get them. Come get them. Y'all got one more game to win. James Harden and Donovan Mitchell are coming off a rocky game, so y'all either going to catch the punch of a lifetime from them two, or it could be open season to get y'all to the Eastern Conference Finals. But just know that them people in New York waiting on y'all, Joe. Don't get it mistaken, and I will be at game 1. And I want to see it. Popcorn ready. Y'all know I love popcorn on the baseline. I'm ready to see the shit.
I tell you what, all y'all Knicks, like, It's one thing about the Knicks. Y'all former play. Anybody's a former player of the Knicks, man. Y'all be in the building, bro. Y'all be in the building.
I'm finna be in the Cavs building too. Don't let them play the Cavs. I'm a happy camper because now I go back and forth. Look, I ain't gonna know what to wear. I'm gonna have to wear. I'm gonna have to bring both jerseys and just pick one. Fuck it. Just pick one. I'm gonna just hit everybody like, hey man, which jersey should I wear tonight, man? Oh, bro, this is getting crazy. It's getting crazy. Yeah, but I'm gonna bring my jersey just in case one of them need me.
Man,
You know what I'm saying?
Hear about like Game 7. Just want to see. I want to see a competitive game.
For sure.
It's gonna be a physical game, bro.
Yeah, I might think about sliding out there for that game, bro. I ain't gonna
It's
lie.
gonna be a physical game, man.
I'm gonna have to hit Jared Jack up, man. Well, dog, I appreciate you, man. Phil Handy, man. Thank you, dog, for coming through the show, man. Shumpstreet. Well, I told you in post we gonna get that all souped up and everything, man. Next up, we got Cavs Pistons Game 7. Monday, May 18th, Spurs at OKC for final Western Conference Finals Game 1. And Tuesday, May 19th, it'll either be in New York or in Detroit, depending on who wins. But yeah, this is going to be some must-see TV. Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals. Let's keep our seatbelts on. Phil Handy, thanks again for coming through.
Out.
Shout out to the Neighborhood Watch. All right, y'all.